In 2010, Congress passed a resolution establishing the second Sunday of every August as Spirit of 45 Day to preserve the World War II generation's legacy as a source of inspiration for future generations. In 2013, Oregon became the first state to legislate a permanent Spirit of 45 Day. This day honors the World War II's generation of courage, shared sacrifice, can-do attitude, spirit, unity, and service. Your 1940s military photos are needed to build a wall of honor. To contribute a 1940s picture of your service hero or heroine, go to orspiritofforty5.org/photo. Now, your photo will appear on the Oregon Spirit of 45 website and be sent to the National Spirit of 45 archives. Faces from every state will build a national World War II Wall of Honor banner that will stretch the 2-mile length of the National Mall in August of 2020. You can learn more at orspiritofforty5.org.
Hello, my name is Anna Tinseth with the Oregon Spirit of 45 youth team. I became involved with the youth team in May of 2015 when I learned about the Spirit of 45 and its mission. It struck home for me as my grandfather, Colonel Daddy as we called him, served in World War II. He exemplified the true spirit of the greatest generation through his hard work, dedication to country and my family. He inspired me as a young child, and I felt a strong sense of honor and pride being able to share his story. When I joined the youth team, I had the opportunity to participate in Help Plan, a week-long statewide concert tour with the 234th National Guard Band. From there, the team marched in the Albany Veterans Day Parade along with Lebanon High School's junior ROTC, carrying the photos of over 70 World War II servicemen and women. We then proceeded to Washington, D.C. with the help of your support. We met with many people and organizations, sharing our story of inspiration from what we have learned about the World War II generation. Because of the generosity of countless donors, I had the opportunity, along with 2 other high school students, Landon Van Dyke and Victoria Jacoby, to travel to the nation's capital for the 2016 Memorial Day Parade. We traveled with the founder of the Oregon Spirit of 45, Barbara Jensen, and author Gail Downs. We went from sea to shining sea to represent Oregon and its members of the greatest generation. In doing so, we marched with hundreds of other Americans, including Okinawa Marine Dr. Bruce Heilman, down Constitution Avenue. Gaining national recognition, our team was privileged in carrying the Keep the Spirit of 45 Alive banner. Many months went into planning the trip, and the individual driving it home was our beloved Joy Beebe, English war bride, author, mom, and adopted grandmother to our youth team. Modeling the greatest generation's values of courage and service, she, as well as many others, inspired us to be leaders in our own generation and exhibit those values in our day-to-day lives. Motivated and driven, we made the 2,800-mile journey to Washington, D.C., where we shared our inspiration with other American students, military and political officials, and even some students from a school in southern France. Finally, being there ignited a lot of excitement in our whole team as we sought to commemorate the World War II generation and call for more young people to do the same. This trip would not have been possible without the tireless efforts of Barbara Jensen. She planned, met with, and advocated for our youth team so that we would have the experience of a lifetime, which we did with your generous support. We had the opportunity to do many amazing things during the course of our 6-day trip. We got to sit in VIP seats at a concert at the White House honoring America's military veterans. In person, we got to see the many monuments and memorials we had only heard about in history books. Everything began coming to life. On a few of the days, we were even given personal tours of the Air and Space Museum, Pentagon, and White House. Unanimously, the highlight of our trip was having lunch with Major General Bentz of the Pentagon, an Army general from our hometown in Oregon. The way she took special interest in us made us feel important and inspired us in our own endeavors to be leaders in our community. By her sincere modeling, General Bentz instantly became a motivating role model. Last but not least, our Oregon team got to march in the nation's largest Memorial Day parade. The experience was astounding as there were other parade entries entirely composed of people from other countries. People who, at some point, had been touched by the United States and wanted to express their gratitude. This, paired with marching with other Americans to honor the men and women of my grandfather's generation, changed my perspective and inspired me to continue living out their values of courage, service, and patriotism. It is important that we honor those who gave all so that we might enjoy the freedoms our country has to offer us today. In an effort to remember their stories, we are collecting World War II service members' photos to build a wall of honor wrapping around the mall in D.C. by the year 2020. You can upload photos of your loved ones on the Oregon Spirit of 45 webpage. Thank you so much to all our generous donors who made this memorable experience possible.
The spirit of 45, born that December dawn. The spirit of 45, the legacy lives on. Let the youth of tomorrow keep the spirit alive. So never forget the spirit of 45.
My dad was a very down-to-earth man. Growing up, he didn't even speak about his actions in the war. I really didn't know anything about it until I was in high school. I mean, he's just down to earth about everything. The medal was in the drawer. It wasn't in a case. It wasn't anything he was displaying to the world. He wore it with pride when he wore it, but he definitely would be thinking this was so nice to represent all those people that were with him during that time. I'm able to keep my dad's story alive. It's been a while since I've talked about him at a function. He's been gone since 2005. To me, this is just a little piece of getting his story out there again and people thinking about him and keeping his memory alive. I love it.
My grandfather's name is Daniel Thornburg Griffin, and he was 30 years old when he was serving at Kaneohe Bay, and when the attack happened on December 7th, 1941, it's believed that he was the first man killed in the attack on the island. Those losses that occurred were not for just some little meaning. They have a big meaning, and that they impact generations. You know, my dad was affected by it. He really took that to heart and never graduated from high school, got his GED, and ended up moving forward and served 20 years in the Navy, and then served 20 years for the gas company, and taught all of his kids the value of hard work. And I'm a doctor at Kaiser Permanente. I have a brother who's an engineer. I have another brother who's a PhD professor at University of Virginia, and I have a sister who works in the software industry. So people who by many words would be described as successful, but I think ultimately it came from these values and issues that are talked about with integrity and honesty and hard work.
I have this opportunity not only to honor all the veterans of that era, but to honor my father. He served in New Guinea as a truck driver, and he came back, and he was one of the veterans who came back to help rebuild America after that. A lot of our veterans that are buried here are World War II veterans, and we have to honor them on a daily basis. But just having an understanding that from this day forward, for the next 5 years, every day is going to represent a 75th anniversary of the war. 75 years ago, we wasn't even thinking about a war. And then after, Pearl Harbor, we were in it, and everybody was affected. As one of the wars, probably the last war, that everybody was personally affected, either through sacrifices at home, sacrifices for their loved one in the war, or sacrifices for being in the war itself.
There's a hero, a soldier, a man or woman who's given their life for our country, for our freedom. God, bring 'em home safe this time.
My mom is from England. She lived through the bombing and the Blitz of London. She met my dad on a dance floor in 1944. They were married in 1945. She sails over in 1948 on a cracked troop ship just before they get to Ellis Island. She's got $10, but she makes it all the way to Salem, Oregon.
I had written stories of my life, and I decided when I was 87 that I would put them all together into a book. And it involved us with the Spirit of 45 and with the National War Brides Association. It's necessary for the younger generation to learn more about what happens in this world, and to me, they are the people that are going to run our country in a few years. And if they don't pay attention to what has happened in the past, they will be unexpected about the future, and we need them to learn about the different feelings in different countries.
Her DNA, the person that she is, I think I inherited some of that. I didn't really ask for this job. It came to me. The Greatest Generation is slipping away from us. We're not going to have them around. We want our communities and our families to send their photos in. Their photos of World War II heroes. The ones that inspire us, the ones that we remember, the ones that we talk about with our children.
And send a copy of that photo to us. Basically upload it to our website. Give us an opportunity to take that photo, put it into a template that we ultimately want to contribute to the National Spirit of 45 organization and be part of a national wall of honor.
On the Washington D.C. Mall in 2020, August, Victory in Japan Day, 75th anniversary, Spirit of 45 Day, we will have a banner from the Capitol steps of the nation to the Lincoln Memorial, back to the reflecting pool of the National World War II Memorial.
So volunteers, yes, we need people. But in addition to that, we need donations. All of the money goes to the organization. We don't have a paid staff, but what we do need is funding so that we can take the photos, create the posters, we can have the ceremonies that allow us to continue to get the word out to others.
We need the support of everyone out there. If you have a grandparent who lived through that war, we need you here to show your support for their sacrifices they made for us.
Well, I'm hoping he would be proud that I'm here doing this, so thank you.
I got a new life, and I have enjoyed it. It's been great working with the Spirit of 45.
So we'll never forget the spirit of 45. So we'll never forget the spirit of 1945.